sort of tell us about the legacy, well, the historical importance and the legacy of wine in Lebanon?
Actually, we originally thought that the first grapes stemmed from the Georgia, this area, and came through Mesopotamia to the doorway, to the gateway of the old world, which is Phoenicia, modern day Lebanon. Actually, simultaneously, now DNA has proven two species emanated at the same time through wild crossings about 7,000 years ago, and one was in around Georgia and this area, Armenia, and another one in the Levant, the heart of which is modern day Lebanon. And this species traveled around the old world with the Phoenicians and was planted. It became the Vitis vinifera. Our Phoenician ancestors started shipping wines about 5,000 years ago in amphora from Byblos. The Grand Cru of the time was called Bybline. It's Bybline because it stemmed from Byblos, the most ancient inhabited port city in the world. And it's a natural harbors. They used to chop the cedar trees, roll them down the mountain, cart them into those Phoenician boats, and in amphora they would ship olive oil and wine and brought the spices and the silk all the way from India, from Asia on the Silk Route, and mastered dyeing the silk purple, the color of royalty, and they were known by the Phoenico, by the Greeks, the purple people. And those purple people also planted and settled, in Carthage, in Sicily. They founded Marseille, and came after, of course, the Romans that took winemaking to an industrial scale at the time. Wherever the Romans set foot, they made wine, and they built the temple of Bacchus in the Bekaa Valley, in Baalbek, the city of the sun Baal. And with our little age or time in making wine, we realized that the closer we got to the temple of Bacchus, the better the vines.
We would like you to take us back into the history of Massaya.
In the 70s, early 70s, my parents acquired the land in the Bekaa Valley with the start of the troubles in Lebanon, where Christian Mennonite family has all sorts of issues with our loving neighbors, firstly the Palestinians, then the Syrians. It all piled up, and we were fortunate as a family to be sent out to France for studies. This is where we got our university education. Then I was always attracted to the US, don't ask me why. So I made it to California. In all this glamorous life, had a convertible at the time, a good job, a girlfriend or a couple of girlfriends at the time, and I was in my 20s, but Lebanon never really left me. It was the first Iraq war, and the Syrian army of Assad's father at the time invaded what was left free of Lebanon. So we got trapped, what was left free of the country got trapped, and I have friends that gave their lives. Everything was looted. Family close to us that were in politics were massacred. I couldn't take my easy life in the sun anymore, so I went back to Lebanon in the early 90s. And it was the fall, the first drop of rains on the Bekaa, and the smell of the earth, and this is really what got my senses so vividly alive, and I felt so much connected and rooted. I figured this is where I belonged, and the first batches of arak where I poured in jars and with crafted labels at my parents' pharmacy in a corner, started selling as organic and authentic arak, and the rest is history.
You're part of the newer generation from starting in the 90s. How did the modern wine industry in Lebanon came about?
I like to think I'm of the new generation because it makes me feel young, but there are lots of younger talents that came in, and there are about now, I think, 60 wineries in Lebanon.
What sort of characters do you find makes wines from Lebanon unique, have a distinct identity?
The climate in Lebanon is the winemaker's best ally. Broadly speaking, the wines are organic. By default, I would say, firstly, you have an average of 300 days of sunshine, so maturing year on year of the grapes. Yet again, a couple of months of snow. So those dynamics of altitude and dry weather, sun, so no real room for fungus, bugs, no real room for predators to the grapes, no worms you would have to spray and so forth. So you don't force nature in any way to mature grapes in Lebanon. We don't filter our wines at Massaya, so we wait for snow melt. Till after snow melt we bottle, so we wait for the sediments to settle naturally. And it's like this along the way. We listen to every parcel, we listen to the wind, we listen to the earth, we listen to the vines, and that, I would say 98% of our work is done in the vineyard. Lebanon, this tiny country, couple of 100 kilometers in length, 50 in width, is the melting pot of all those minorities that have been persecuted in the area, thanks to our hard to access mountain. The cuisine is so rich in Lebanon and so diverse, not because we are geniuses, because everyone brought his little spices to the table, and influence from Turkish cuisine and French cuisine and Armenian cuisine and Kurdish cuisine and what have you, North African cuisine. Nothing expresses this better than having a glass of wine or arak and sharing meals, and this is what Lebanon is about.
The current situation that is evolving, I guess, in Lebanon and the surrounding area. Does that, for you, what kind of challenges does that pose for you looking forward for how Massaya continues to grow and survive, I suppose?
It's not the first conflict since we started Massaya, and I would think that there is no conflict that a good bottle of wine cannot resolve. Sometimes people, if they don't drink, have issues. I don't get into those discussions much, and I think a good bottle of wine can, have people talk what they have on their mind and maybe resolve it in a more peaceful way. So I just look beyond all that conflicts and only hope there will be peace soon. And I am a peace seeker, and I don't get people destroying and for proving a point. So we plant and we build forward.